All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, it is time for a tier list. That's right, guys. It's been a while since we've done a tier list on the channel. And, hey, OP11 is right around the corner for us over here in the West. And OP12, I think, just came out in the East. So it is time to talk about a tier list. All right, so let's go ahead and hop straight into this. I will have everything timestamped in the general description. And I'll have all relevant links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Today's video is sponsored by Nin Garden. Their summer kickoff sale is live, and they are offering 10 to 60% discounts across the entire store. So be sure to check that out, and don't forget to use my code, the VV Theory, at the checkout for an additional 5% off. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get right into it. We've got 108 leaders to go over. Okay, we got a lot of leaders to go over in today's video, so I'm going to try to do this at a pretty good pace. Let me explain the categories real quick before we fully launch. Excuse me. I have them just, with funny names over here. Sweaty being like the absolute top tier decks. These are the decks you want to bring to the most competitive tournaments. Strong is for like trying to win at your locals. Almost is like, okay, maybe... these are decks that have fallen down, maybe they've been power crept past. They almost have what it takes to compete at a higher level, but it also wouldn't be surprising if they were still able to win at a casual or maybe at a top at a random tournament. It wouldn't surprise me. Casual is more along the lines of like, this is strictly for fun, and chill is, that's the last category. We'll call that the last category there. Okay, but if I guess it's easier to think of it like this. S tier would be at the very top here. And then A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier, right? Hopefully you guys can see that. S tier at the top, going down to D tier at the bottom. Okay, so we're just going to go right in order here, guys. I'm going to try to do this at a pretty decent pace because there's just so many leaders to go over, okay? So first up is going to be Hody Jones. Let me explain that real quick, too. One more thing before we really launch is I will be... this list is in reference to OP11 first. I'm going to save the OP12 predictions till the end, okay? So this is OP11 predictions in the West with the new starter decks, okay? That's going to be first. Okay, so first up is Hody Jones. I think he is in the almost category. Some people might have him in the strong category with the OP11 support because, I mean, to be fair, the Fishman Island stuff, all that, the Merfolk stuff, that is getting some support in OP11. So I could see it pushing Hody Jones almost into the strong category if you have a very good pilot, but I think generally speaking it's going to be in the almost category. Next up is Blue Purple Croc. This is dropped, this is in the casual category now. It's probably been here for a while. I think with the right pilot, it's definitely, it could be in the almost category, and with the right build, fine-tuned and everything, mastered. But overall, it's going to be in the more casual category. Next up is Green Purple Luffy. I guess I'm sure you guys could imagine where that one was going. Green Purple Luffy is at the very top end of competition right now. Red Purple Uda, I think this is in the casual category. Some people have been talking about maybe it's working its way into the almost category, like in the middle, like B tier category, we'll even call it, with the new starter deck support. But honestly, I still think it's just a casual deck. But I mean, again, I could see it being in either one of these categories, but I'm going to err on the side of caution here. I'm just going to put it in the casual side, and hey, hopefully someone can prove me wrong with it. I won't be upset if someone wins a tournament with Red Purple Uda. King, this is going down here in the chill category. He's just chilling down there. Excuse me. Then we have Blue Purple Kaido. This is, I just feel like this leader has been power crept by so much that it's down here in the chill category. Red Green Law is extremely solid overall. I think it actually has like a decent matchup into Blue Purple Luffy, right? If you can go wide enough, depending on how you build it, I guess. But I think it's really probably safer to put it down here in the almost category. You guys tell me what y'all think about this in the comment section below, of course. Odin. Odin's in the almost category. Believe it or not, guys, this is like in the middle of the pack now. There's like an Exodia-style Kinemon deck for Odin that's actually kind of decent. It's really not that bad. It requires a really good pilot, and I still don't think you get a huge reward or benefit for running Odin. So I'm going to put it in the almost category. And another problem that I see with Odin going into this next, this next meta, is there are decks like green. If you're going green, you have access to green purple. We're going to talk about blue purple in a minute. And then, so there's like, there are these decks that are going to go very wide on the board. And then there's also going to be a lot of very aggressive decks like Red, Yellow, Bello, Betty. And I think those are just going to all do pretty well into Green Odin. Actually, I think Odin will probably have a decent matchup into Blue, Purple, Luffy. Something like that. I'll have to see, because it can spread very wide very quickly on the board. But against everything else, like I think Green, Purple, Luffy is a little too fast for it. I think Red, Yellow, Bello, Betty might be a little too fast for it as well. And then even a lot of black decks popping up. Like I do expect to see quite a few Blackbeards running into the meta pretty strong because of the new support we're getting in ST27 or whatever it is. We'll have to see what happens. And any Lucci would probably just be able to really cause some trouble for Odin. Okay, Red-Green Luffy, I think he's more in the casual category, but I have seen some people pilot it well where it makes you want to put it in almost. I'm just going to keep it in casual for now. But again, this one's kind of like Red-Purple Uda, where it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like this, this person who plays nothing but Red-Green Luffy and like has a fine-tuned list, and they were preparing for a tournament and they just end up getting like a top placing or, winning locals for sure. I could see that happening with this deck, so maybe I should put it in almost. But other than that, I think overall this deck is more in the casual category, but maybe in the almost category. I'm going to put in casual for now. Green Purple Limb is super strong. Excuse me. But it does have some competition in town now in the Green Purple category, or the Green Purple slot, with Green Purple Luffy. But I'm going to keep Limb in the strong category. Carrot is in the almost category. I don't know like where. I'm just going to put it in here for now. Carrot is almost there, but I just don't think it quite has enough. If it had a few more tools to work with, maybe it could do something. Who knows? Maybe the new support from ST24 with the Law and Beppo, maybe that's going to be what it needs to, excuse me, guys. Maybe that's going to give it the boost it needs to start competing at a higher level. We'll have to see. It would not surprise me if this leader, works its way up the chart soon, or up the tier list. One more thing I do want to say about this almost category. This really is the like the middle of the road category, where it's like there are a lot of decks in here where it's like maybe they're just not figured out yet, and if they do get figured out, they could go up the list easily. Okay, so be sure to keep that in mind. Next up, we got Newgate. I think he is still in this strong category. I think there's a list you can run for Newgate where it is just hyper aggressive, and you can just run people over. And being a 6,000 power leader into a format that's going to have plenty of 6,000 power leaders like probably Red Purple Luffy, Blue Purple Luffy, and Green Purple Luffy. Those are all pretty much always 6,000 power leaders for the most part. Red Purple and Blue Purple always are, but Green Purple Luffy is 6,000 power very often, right? So having a leader that's 6,000 that can compete just, with a blank swing into it, I think that will matter quite a bit, and especially how aggressive Newgate is. I think it's going to do pretty decent going into this format. Calgara, now that it does have the support from EB02, well, actually, hang on. I'm thinking of something else it's getting in the future. This one, I think, is in the strong category still, but I think Calgara is going to move, I'll just say further up in the strong category once he gets the support from OP12. I think it was from OP12 that it's getting the new support. Magellan, this is going in the chill category. Hannibal, going in the chill category. Smoker, chill. No, I'm just kidding. No, this one's actually in the strong category. I do think Smoker is one of the better decks out there right now for this format. But I think it could even be in the almost category, and it would make a lot of people frustrated if I put it here. Excuse me. But you have to bear with me with these tier lists, guys. We don't know. This is more of a prediction list on how things are going to go into OP11. We're not sure, right? Like that's the true answer. Is all of this new support coming out from the starter decks? It might be pushing a lot of these leaders up and down on the tier list and making some stronger, some weaker. And as certain leaders get stronger in the meta, it's going to push down others and push others up. We'll have to see what happens. But I definitely could see Smoker being in this at the very tail end of the strong category. But I would rather run Lucci or Blackbeard right now if I was running a black deck, like a mono black deck. And that's why I want to put it in the almost category. But again, I could see Smoker doing very well regardless. Black Yellow Kairos is going in the chill category. Ace is going into the casual category. And I know people love this leader. I know people love the character Ace. Sorry, guys. It is what it is. If you guys can maybe convince me otherwise in the comment section. I try to stay open-minded, guys. If y'all have an idea, by all means, tell me something down in the comment section. You might be able to change my mind on it. Lucci, I'm going to drop this in the chill category. It is black, so it has access to tons of removal. It probably should be in casual. We'll see how things go. I'm sure I'm going to be moving things around in the tier list over time, so I'll put him in the casual category for now, because I do think he's going to be a lot better than some of the decks we see down here in the chill category. Iceberg has moved into casual. I would have called this a chill deck for the longest time. I think this has moved into casual. Blue Dofi is still in the strong category. Guys, I was going to have it in the... I kind of think it's in the almost category for OP11. We'll have to see what happens. But if you look at the results from the East, after it lost Jinbei, people just stopped playing it pretty much entirely. But who knows? I'm sure there's going to be a diehard player who can push this into the strong category. But here's the way I see it. I'm going to leave it in the almost category because... I'm sure I'm going to say category a lot in this tier list, guys, because we're going to be talking about the different categories, so my apologies in advance. But I do think that Dofi is going to be a leader where it's just going to require an extremely high-level pilot, and most of the players that were playing Dofi in the past, they were very good pilots, and they're just going to move on to whatever the next best deck is. So I could see Dofi being at the very top end of almost. Maybe into the strong category at some point. Okay, next up we have yellow Katakuri. This one as well. Like these three at the very top of almost, I would say these are for sure like decks that can squeeze into strong. And with the right pilot, they are in the strong category. But for now, I'm just going to leave them in almost. And like I said, as we go through the list, I will start making some adjustments as needed. Kuro is in the chill category. It's not even in casual in my opinion anymore. Nami is still very strong. But the biggest problem it will have is like matchup dependent. Arlong is almost there, guys. It almost has something, and the new support it got from EB02 was very good with that new 3-cost Arlong. But I don't think it's just lacking somewhere. I will put it in the middle of the pack up almost, though. Black Yellow Linlin has become almost a completely chill leader at this point, but I will put it into casual because it has... I mean, you can basically run it the same way as Katakuri, and you have gain life instead of extra aggro. It does have access to some black removal cards, but it's definitely down here in the casual or chill category. Green Blue Rosinante, I think, is in almost, maybe even like middle of the pack, like around where Arlong is. I think Rosinante, I do think that Rosinante is a deck that is largely unexplored. And with the right build and the right pilot and with the right read of the meta, I could see it taking tournaments. I could see Green Blue Rosinante taking tournaments. Zoro is still very strong. Zoro is probably towards the upper end of strong, of the strong tier list here, or the strong tier, A tier, whatever you want to call this. Like I think it's at the very top end of that because it can really keep certain decks in check. Purple Luffy is just going to be up here. I'm gonna have it. It's probably needs to be in strong, but. It's doing very well. Purple Luffy's going to be doing just fine in OP11, I think. Perona has dropped all the way down to casual. Man, that deck has really fallen off, unfortunately. I think that Gecko Moria is somewhere in this almost category, maybe right above Red Green Trafalgar Law. I think the deck is solid. It's not turning heads anymore like it used to. It lost its boss monster, of course, or its boss character with the 8-cost Gecko Moria ban. But I still think it is a good, solid mono-black deck choice. Blue-purple ratio, I think, is strong. I think it can compete with a lot of decks. Red-green Chopper is definitely down here in the casual category. Purple-black King also in the casual area. Purple-yellow Pudding is strong. Purple-yellow Pudding is strong, and it gets even stronger with the introduction of the 8-cost Katakuri, the purple one. So now you have multiple Katakuris, really strong 8-cost Katakuris to cheat out with the 2-cost Katakuri when your opponent's at 8 or more Dawn. Let me shrink my camera down a little bit because we're starting to expand this list. Red Blue Marco. I think this one is in the almost category because sure it is very strong in OP. It was very strong in OP10, but I think going into OP11 it's going to fall off a little bit, unfortunately, with what's in the meta. Because I do think it can deal with I think Red Blue Marco actually can deal with Green Purple Luffy, but will it be able to keep up with Blue Purple Luffy? I'm not sure. Maybe there's a build that will come out. I will put this towards the top end of the almost, the almost category. Again, I'm going to say category so many times, guys, so y'all bear with me. But we're going to put that in the almost area here. Green-blue Sanji, this is in the chill zone. Purple-black Z, chill. Ivankov, chill. Red-black Garp is... I know there's like a super hardcore fan base for Garp that they really like this leader. I'm not talking about fan base like from the manga or anime. I mean, I know he has that too. But like in this game, there is a certain group of people that just absolutely love playing Red-black Garp. And I don't know who they are, but they are just diehard fans. So, I mean, and they always have something good to say about him. I'm going to put him in the almost, in the almost section here because I do think he has some potential with the removal. But I'm going to be honest, I would put him in the casual zone. Okay? Green-purple Doflamingo, I don't know why you would be playing this deck, to be honest. I'll put in casual because I know, again, it's like Garp. There are certain players who just love Garp and Doflamingo, and I don't, it's got to be something to do with the anime or the manga, because as far as like how they play into the current format, I just don't feel like they have it. I just don't feel like they have it, but with a really good pilot, I could see any deck doing very well, especially on a casual level. Okay? Red-black Saba, I think, is in the almost spot here, the almost zone. We're going to start calling them zones just to change the vocabulary here, But Red-black Sabo, I actually think once we get to OP12, he is going to move up this tier list. So hopefully I remember to regrade some of these leaders when we go over the OP12 cards. But Red-black Sabo, I think, is already in the almost section here and could move up into strong in OP12. Yeah, guys, those new Revo Army cards are no joke. Blue-yellow Queen, I will have this in casual. I'm just going to put him like in the middle of the pack of casual. Purple-yellow Croc is in the almost section. Kinemon, I'm going to have him under casual. The list is starting to get big, guys. Here we go. Blue-black Rebecca, I think, is in almost. Oh, gosh. Here we go. We're just going to leave Sweaty at the top here. We'll go back to that as we need to. I'm going to leave the list like this so I can keep moving them up easily. Dragon, super casual. Green-yellow Yamato, let me move this into almost because this could be in strong after the new support that it got. This was I will mention this real quickly because a lot of people were... I had quite a few people who were mad at my at yesterday's video where I talk about the Green Yellow Yamato starter deck, and I thought it was a very solid starter deck. I even said that in the video. I said, hey, I think the starter deck's actually pretty good. Excuse me. But I think that some of the cards in there are just too much geared towards like Yamato alone. They're more like, they're too like hyper focused on the leader. But as far as this leader goes, the support that it got, I think, is very good, and I could see it moving all the way to the top of almost now, somewhere in this area, and probably pushing, knocking on the door of the strong tier. Okay, so we'll have to see what happens with Yamato, but I would not be surprised with the new Searcher that I got and the new Momonosuke. Maybe it can make its way into the strong category. We'll have to see what happens. Enel, let me move him up. He is in strong for sure, especially with the new EB02 10 cost Enel. It has kind of, relit the fire under the Enel players. Like it's got them going again. Okay, Green-Black Isho is in the almost area here. Believe it or not, guys, it just has a lot of tools at its disposal. It did get some Navy support from EB02. And I think we're about to go into a format where anything that's running black is going to be able to have a lot of removal, which is going to help into a lot of matchups. I do think once we get to Lucci, I'll talk about it more. But having access to high level removal right now is going to be pretty important. It's going to be like the control decks of this format, being able to wipe the board every single turn consistently. And I think Green-Black Isho is almost there. It's actually very close, especially when you have access to cards now like the the Sengoku, the 7-cost Sengoku blocker that's bringing cards back from the trash. I do think Isho is actually very, very close to something. Who knows? I'll put it towards the end of almost because maybe it is more in the casual area. But like I said, anything that's running black right now, given what the meta is, I could see it sneaking up a tier, higher than what it should be. Bonnie is in the strong category. Red Yellow Bello Betty is in the strong category. In fact, I would almost say this is in the sweaty category. Because, guys, this Bello Betty is one of the few decks that can compete with some of the purple Luffy Gum Giant stuff going on right now. Bonnie, I'm even going to move up higher in this zone here in the strong category because it has access to green, which has access to Hody Jones. Okay, good stuff there. Okay, Lucci, I think this is all the way up at the very top of the strong category. It's one of the other decks that can start to compete with the top tier decks in the format. Red Green Odin, it's all the way up here in almost. Maybe some people would probably argue this is in strong as well. because I do think it's probably going to be decent against some of the green stuff, because the purple stuff, because it has access to Hody Jones. It floods the board with some very big characters. You're pretty much a 6K leader. For the most part, when played correctly, you're pretty much a 6K leader at all times. This might be a hot take, but I could see Odin being at the very tail end of Strong, or even somewhere in the middle of the pack of Strong. But then again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens, because having access to these new starter decks could really change some things. But I'm going to have this, for now, I am going to put this at the very top of Almost, and it's probably knocking on the door of Strong. Shanks, I think, falls off big time. It falls down into the Almost category. It's not letting me move this around. There we go. I'm going to put Shanks into the Almost category, because it does have to fall down a little bit with all the new stuff coming out. I do not think Shanks did well into OP11, but who knows? Maybe if they have the new 9-cost Shanks from the starter deck could make it better to the point where it pops back into more top lists. We'll have to see what happens. Buggy. Okay, I think Buggy's actually going straight into Strong. Some people might think that's crazy. I think Buggy's good to go, and who knows, with the new with this new the new support coming out, maybe it's what it needed to really spice things up in the meta. I am going to move Nami down to the end of Strong, because I think there are some matchups that are just going to blast that out of the meta. We'll have to see what happens. Maybe Nami should fall down under Almost. We'll see what happens. Okay, next up you have Nefeltari Vivi. This is definitely more casual, but it is one of those decks that there are a few diehard pilots for Nefeltari Vivi. Excuse me. There are a few diehard Nefeltari Vivi players out there who can probably make it work at a much higher level. Maybe that's how I should have explained this, guys. Maybe I should have explained the casual tier as like, okay, hey, if you're good enough, you can probably win locals with these decks in this area here. But for every other player who hasn't had the time to master the deck, here's where you get left at. Okay, hopefully people don't get upset by that. Blue-Black Sakazuki, we are obviously not going to rate because it is banned. Is there? Let me find Red-Purple Luffy real quick. Is Red-Purple, or not Red-Purple Luffy, Red-Purple, hang on. All right. We're going to go ahead and put Blue-Black Sakazuki in the chill category. I'm trying to get rid of some of the ones that got banned. Well, it's just two. I don't even see it. Here it is. Red Purple Law. We're gonna put that down here. It's banned, so we're not gonna rate that one. And if I ever find the promo law, here it is. We're gonna put that in the chill category as well. Okay, now Boa. I think Boa has kind of fallen off a little bit. We're gonna put this in the Almost category, right around Doflamingo tier. Foxy. This is in the Almost tier as well. I'm gonna put it right after Boa. I just don't think it quite has it anymore. Decks are going too wide now. They're spreading too wide, and it's starting to become like a lot to deal with. Vegapunk, I think, is still like it's strong right now at the end of OP10, like the EB02 OP10 format. But I think I might end up moving this down from strong in the at the end of it, because I don't think it's going to be able to compete quite as well going into oh, my camera's in the way. I have it right here. I don't think it's going to be able to compete once we get into OP11. So I'm actually going to drop this down in the Almost, into Almost. Kuzan, we're not going to rate that until the very end. I'm going to leave that for OP12. Let me see. These are kind of out of order for some reason. Okay, we'll get to it later. Blue Crocodile, this is just in the absolute chill category now, because even though it's 7 Warlords, now that Jinbei's gone, the other decks other than Doflamingo lost a lot of strength losing Jinbei. Purple Shanks, this is chill. Red Green Smoker, this goes into the strong category. I think anything running green into this current meta we're about to go into with purple is about to be it's just almost like default strong, because it's going to have access to Hody Jones to close out your games. And Red Green Smoker is definitely very, very good right now into something like green purple Luffy, and potentially blue purple Luffy. I have not done enough testing with that, but I think Red Green Smoker is going to be just fine. Blue promo Luffy, that's going into chill. Blue purple Sanji. Okay, hang on. All right, here we go. Here's some of the OP8 stuff, or the OP12 stuff. Let me move this. OP12. OP12. Here we go. I think I've almost got them all out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice. Okay. Eustace Kid, this is completely chill now. Maybe it's casual because it has access to Cavendish and it's green, so maybe it is in the more casual area. I'll even move it up because it's green, like I said. Has access to Hody Jones, Supernova. It's in the more casual zone, though, now. Purple Kaido as well, very, very casual. Red Purple, what's his name, Luffy here. I think this one is probably pretty strong. It just gets overshadowed by the other purple decks in the format right now. I'm going to push it up higher in the list, though, next to Lim, where it's like it's stronger than most decks, I think, in the format. But it's like if you're going to be running a 6,000 power purple leader, I think you're just going to want to run blue-purple Luffy. And then if you're trying to run, you know, I mean, that pretty much just explains it, right? So I do think red-purple Luffy's probably stronger than most of the decks we're seeing on this list. However, it's going to be overshadowed by, like, you know, blue-purple Luffy for the 6,000 power 3-life leader, and then even for the, you know, even green-purple Luffy just being able to be 6,000 and like a 4-life leader. So it's kind of one of those situations. Okay, next up we have purple-black Luffy. All right, here we go. So this is a leader that's going to get a starter deck. I do think this jumps way up into the strong category. We'll have to see if someone can figure out the list fast enough for purple-black Luffy. I'm going to leave it at the end of strong for now until we figure out until we can see if someone figures out the right build for it. But this is a leader that got directly its own starter deck, and I think it should move up all the way into the strong category after everything's said and done. Same idea with Buggy. Like, now that it has its own starter deck, purple-black Luffy, Bonnie, whereas Shanks is one that I think it drops off for other reasons, but all, you know, the other three I just mentioned, they got their own starter deck, and I think they are going to push it forward quite a bit. Whereas Shanks was already very strong, and it didn't get a ton of support. Like, this is the leader right here we're talking about, guys, Shanks. It got its own starter deck, but it was already strong. And the stuff it got in the starter deck is probably not going to help it out too much when it comes to standard. So we'll have to see. But hey, I'd be okay with being wrong about this, and I'm actually going to push Shanks maybe to the higher end of almost. Okay, next up is Blackbeard, another leader that did get his starter deck. This is going into the strong category right away, probably towards the upper end of that, because that new 7-cost Marshall D. Teach and the new 6-cost Kuzan, I think, are going to be very, very strong in general. I think it does push it up an entire notch. Okay. Nico Robin. This is an almost for me. I really love this leader. Purple Yellow Nico Robin is one of my favorite off-meta leaders, but it is called off-meta for a reason. It's not quite there. I'm going to drop this under where I think Green Yellow Yamato could be. But at the same time, I do think it could maybe work its way up the list later, right? It could, or over time, we'll have to see. But I think it is. It's either a little bit better or a little bit worse than Red Blue Marco. So I'll put it right under Marco. Again, these are just my opinion, guys, so please don't be mad. If I said something you don't like, just say something in the comments section below. I just ask that people be respectful. Caesar Clown is in the casual area. I can't do anything better than that for now. Same thing with this Luffy. And by the way, anything in these bottom tier lists, I don't really have them in any specific order. Sanji, I'm going to put this at the top, probably at the top of casual. This is at the top of the casual tier list, category. I just don't think it quite has enough to be in the almost or strong category. Same thing with this. I think the same thing with this Luffy. It's just been power crept past so much. Okay, now we get to Sabo. Sabo is in the strong category. It's basically a slightly worse version of Bello Betty. Okay, Sabo is just a slightly worse version of Bello Betty. This is a highly competitive deck going into OP11, guys. Red Yellow Sabo moving up the tier list. You love to see it. Yellow Eustace Kid, I think this is at the end of strong. I think this is going to be on the tail end of strong for yellow decks. I think Enel will just probably be a better choice over Eustace Kid. But at the same time, once we get the 2-cost beige, I do think it does help this leader out quite a bit. Okay, red purple Eustace Kid. This is probably towards the top end of almost. Believe it or not, guys, red purple Eustace Kid. This is a very strong leader because it has 5 life and it ends up being a 6,000 power attack just by using his Dawn minus effect. So when you're building the deck properly, where you have things like Pudding in the deck, you have things like the 5-cost Eustace Kid, where you're not being punished for going backwards in Dawn, or even just Dawn ramp to offset it or mitigate it. You're swinging 6,000 power baseline, early in the game, and you get to take your first 2 hits for free to turn your leader effect on, and now you're swinging for 7,000s for the rest of the game just by going Dawn -1. You have access to tons and tons of aggro. Do not sleep on Red Purple Eustace Kid, guys. It's actually it's on the cusp of something special, I think. Okay, next up is ST21 Luffy. I have this in the almost category, somewhere around these super aggressive decks like that have red in them, that it can kind of sneak games at locals no problem. It's right here, guys, red ST21 Luffy. It can sneak games at locals for sure, sneak wins at locals, like, you know, entire tournaments. But at the same time, I think it's going to come down to just not being the right choice to run. Even if you're trying to run something more aggressive, you're going to have better options out there, you know, between Zoro, Bello Betty, and even Shanks and Whitebeard if built more aggressively. I will drop Whitebeard down just a little bit, I think. Okay, it's behind my camera. Y'all see it now. Okay, right there. All right. Next up is Green Uda. I do think this is also in the almost area, the almost, you know, spot here, because maybe it's even further down of almost. It's one of those decks. It does go very wide on the board. It fills your hand up. It just doesn't have something. It's just lacking something, guys. I don't know what Green Uda is lacking. If you guys know, say something in the comments section below. But the leader is just lacking something that just prevents it from being a top tier deck. It's like it has card draw for days. It can flood the board if needed. It has access to green, which has Hody Jones. But it just doesn't ever really get there. Maybe it just lacks the participation. Excuse me. I know with a lot of these leaders, guys, you know, there's so many leaders, and if you're going to a big tournament, most people are just going to go a set amount of leaders. It's one of those leaders where it's like maybe it just lacks participation. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. But Green Uda, it just falls flat so many times, like time after time. Red Uda, this is just absolute chill zone here. This is a promo Luffy. We're not going to rate that because it's not legal. It's only legal and limited, or sealed rather. Sakazuki at the top of chill. No, I'm just kidding. I actually think this is in casual now ever since the format slowed down. I put out a video with this leader not too long ago, guys. I'm actually going to put it up towards the top of casual now. It might sound crazy, but with this leader being Navy and having access to both Sengokus, and then on top of that, with the format slowing down a little bit, when you start dropping Kuzan after Kuzan, it's like surprisingly good. Like, it's just hard for them to deal with. And we're gonna get access to 7-cost. We already have access to 7-cost Jack, but having access to 7-cost Marshall D. Teach, I could see this entering into... It's kind of like in the same area as Green Black Isho, but I'm going to leave it in casual for now, because I would probably rather go something like Smoker if I was trying to be more competitive. I would try to go something like Smoker or Gecko if I was trying to run Black and be more competitive, if I wasn't already running Teach and Lucci. Okay, next up is Big Mom here, Yellow Linlin. I'm going to put this into the almost area. It's basically in between Katakuri and Black Yellow Linlin, so it's somewhere in this area. It's always going to have access to 10-cost Linlin, but at the same time, I don't know, Yellow's kind of slowed down a little bit, but I'll try to move things around in just a minute here, guys, because I could see Yellow Katakuri. I'll move him up further, since I do think he is... I do think he is like a whole standard deviation better than like Yellow Linlin, you know, the leader 5-life Yellow Linlin. And I'll even put Linlin down at the bottom of the almost category. But, well, not at the bottom. We got to put it above some of these other ones here, like Isho. I don't know. There's no specific order to this, because I would have Foxy at the bottom of almost. Okay, Blue Yellow Ace. This is definitely in the almost category, because it's just lacking something, and it does not play well into some of the top decks out there right now, especially going into OP11, like Blue Purple Luffy. It just kind of struggles. Who knows, maybe if we can figure it out, it can move up higher into this category, but for now, I am going to drop it into the middle of the pack for almost, and I want that leader to do well, guys. I really want Blue Yellow Ace to be able to do well. Again, maybe we just have to find the right build for it. Maybe we just haven't figured out the right build for it yet, but it does have a lot of potential. Yellow Yamato is in chill. Now, I'm just kidding, guys. It's probably in casual, though, is the nicest I can be here. Because Yellow Yamato did just get the new 6-cost Momonosuke that came out in the starter deck for Yamato. The green-yellow Yamato starter deck. So maybe it does find its way into casual. Because otherwise, guys, I would have Yellow Yamato in the chill zone. We'd have her in the chill zone for sure. But for now, we'll put her in the casual tier. We'll see what happens. I have not messed with this leader in so long, because I've said this before, guys. I have really been mean about this leader effect, because it's just a Dawn ×1 on your opponent's turn. If if you have 2 or less life, you get plus 1,000 power. So you're a 6,000 power leader on offense and defense, pretty much. If you attach a Dawn, you get plus 1,000 from the Dawn on offense normally when it's your turn, but then on your opponent's turn, you get the 1,000 buff for having a Dawn attached if you have 2 or less life. And I just don't think that is very good, right? You basically don't have a leader effect the entire game. You just have a a yellow 5,000 power leader, or 5,000 power 5 life leader, monocolor leader, but you don't have access to some of the best top end stuff in yellow, like 10 cost Lin Lin. So it's one of those leaders that unfortunately just doesn't seem to have enough going on for it. But who knows? Maybe the new Yamato stuff could help push this Yamato into the next tier as well. But just know this, guys. I've moved it up because I would have normally had this in chill, like unplayable for the most part, like no reason to play it, I should say. ST22 Ace, we're going to save this till the end as well because this doesn't come out for a while for us. We're going to save this until the very end. Black Yellow Luffy is still actually at the very top end of almost, guys, and some people would probably argue it's probably in the strong category. Believe it or not, guys, Black Yellow Luffy has still been sneaking wins here and there when it sees what it needs to, and you have a very good pilot. This is actually in the strong category. I've seen people do it. Guys, it happens. I don't see it taking down any big tournaments anytime soon, but I see it in the almost category for sure. I'll even put it probably somewhere around Yamato level of almost, where if you have a good enough pilot, they're going to make it look like it's a super strong deck, but everyone else running the deck, it's going to sit in that middle of the pack almost category. Jinbei. Okay, going into some OP11 stuff here. Hang on, let me save the OP11 stuff. I am going to save that till the end. Okay, hang on 1 second, or well, not the end. OP12 is at the end, but let me do OP11 after we do the OP10 stuff. Okay, all right. So Green Blue, Zoro, and Sanji. This is actually probably needs to be in strong, to be honest, because I do think this is pretty decent into a lot of the top stuff up here. Maybe not Bello Betty, but I think it can compete with like Blue Purple Luffy. But I'm going to put this into almost for now because we have to see what's going to happen. We really have to see what's going to happen with with the meta in the West with OP11 with the new starter decks. Okay, I know that was super confusing, but once we get access to the new starter decks over here in the West for OP11, how is that going to impact the meta? We'll have to see. If things slow down enough and there's not enough removal in the format, Green Blue Zanji all of a sudden jumps up into this area right here. But for now, I think it is kind of maybe a little bit too slow, but it has something going on. It could be special. Blue Black Usopp, I think, is in the strong category. This is just a very solid it's like a tempo-based removal deck. I think it can compete. It does require the right pilot to really high, to like go to the top of strong. But I do think just baseline, it's just a solid deck with tons of tempo, and it can do very well. So Blue Black Usopp, we're going to put in the strong category. Green Yellow Trafalgar Law. Okay, now this is going into the strong category as well. I'll try to adjust the positions later, but I'm going to put Green Yellow Law right here in strong for now. Going into OP11, you're going to have access to beige. So any deck that has removal that could really slow down Green Yellow Law no longer slows it down as much, right? They can still slow it down, but not like the way they used to be able to. Now we can actually, flood the board and protect it, and we did get some pretty decent support actually from the, thanks to the Supernova Bonnie starter deck, we did actually get some decent support for Green Yellow Trafalgar Law. It could take this leader to the next level. Red Purple Sugar, I think this is probably in the top of casual, maybe at the bottom of, I'll put it at the bottom of almost, because there's something there, but I don't know what. You guys tell me in the comment section below. You could convince me either way with Red Purple Sugar. I'm not a huge fan of the deck, but I have seen it look very strong. I've seen people go off with it where you ramp your Dawn very consistently, you start slamming down your 10 cost characters, and you just start eating up the board. ST14 Luffy, I think this is kind of at the bottom of almost now, because it's I don't know. Actually, I'll put it towards the top of almost. I'll put it towards the top of almost, because you can, like, it did. Let me think about something. I think all black decks did just get stronger with the introduction of the Blackbeard starter deck, because I think that 7 cost Teach is going to find a spot into every single list. I could be wrong, because I know we already have access to Jack, which is a very similar power level card for the same cost. But at the same time, that Marshall D Teach being able to grab cards back from the trash whenever it gets KO'd, it's pretty good, guys. That's pretty strong. So I'll put ST14 Luffy towards the top end of almost. Okay, now on to the OP11 stuff. Blue-purple Luffy is going straight to the top, all the way under Sweaty. I'm even going to put it at the very highest level. I think these are probably your top 3 decks in the format. In fact, this is probably your top decks, just all of these right here for the most part, and some of these strong decks as well. We'll have to see. Okay, purple Katakuri. I think this is going straight into the strong category. Katakuri is actually a very good deck, and people, it will require. I'm going to put it under almost for the fact that it does require a certain kind of pilot. Like, if you're a good pilot with this deck and you're actually trying to make it work and you're trying your best, it's easily under strong. But I think most people will probably not be able to pilot purple Katakuri. You know, it's no offense to anyone, but it's one of those decks that requires a decent amount of skill, a little bit of memorization, and it requires you to know kind of what to expect from every deck in the format, and that's where a lot of people, I think, are going to fall off with purple Katakuri. It's going to require a certain pilot, and because of that, I think it does deserve to be in the almost category. But again, for the really good pilots out there, I think they're going to be able to make it into a strong deck. Green Jinbei. This is going to go right next to Katakuri, actually probably right under ST14 Luffy. It's almost there. It's like with Hody Jones, man. Hey, there's something there, but it's just not quite there yet. I will say, into certain matchups in this format, like against blue-purple Luffy, I think Jinbei's going to be doing pretty well. And because of that, maybe he does need to be up a tier, but we'll have to see what happens. I don't think... you know, Jinbei gets a lot of support from OP11, of course, when it comes out. There's an entire color built around its support. But at the same time, it didn't really get any extra support from ST23 through 28. The starter decks were built for other leaders. So I think I like where he's at right now, right there in the middle, or towards the top end of almost. Let's do Shirahoshi first before we do Nami. Shirahoshi is in the casual category here. I'm going to drop it even under Caesar Clown. I just don't think it has it, guys. It's probably at the bottom of casual. It'll probably be one of those leaders that drops into the chill zone. Okay, we'll do Blue Yellow Nami now. I know we still have Kobe, but Blue Yellow Nami. Blue Yellow Nami. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Blue Yellow Nami is a very solid leader right now. It's kind of, I think it's going to just be stronger than Blue Yellow Ace is, just in general. Like, I've got Blue Yellow Ace in the middle of the pack of almost here. We'll see. Actually, hang on. I have to run that back. It really is going to come down to if we get access to 7 cost, 8,000 power Odin, which we don't have access to. We don't have access to Odin. We don't have access to any of, OP12, of course, but ST22, we're not going to get... Guys, over here in the West, we are not going to get ST22 until after we get OP12. My hands are in the air, guys. I don't know what to say. But I'm just going to say this. Nami with Odin is a very, very strong deck. Nami without Odin is just an almost deck, unfortunately. So I'm going to put it here. It's honestly around the same category as Blue Yellow Ace, because Blue Yellow Ace is the same idea where it's like it can get pretty, it can do pretty well. But oh well. Nami did just do very well at a tournament over in the East, so we do have to respect that and put it up towards the top end of almost. But you have to remember, guys, we don't have access to the Odin over here in the West. We don't have access to Odin. Red Black Kobe, I think this is somewhere in the almost zone, somewhere in the middle of these black decks where it's like, it's not actually a black removal deck, so I'm going to put it like below that. But who knows, with the right pilot, I'm sure you can make something work. It does give some of the sword characters rush. It's like a pseudo rush where you can attack into characters. But at the same time, maybe it needs to be a little bit higher. I'll probably put it like right under, or I'll put it right above Marco for now. See, I got to move down. I'll try to adjust things towards the end. But I think it's somewhere in the middle of almost, guys. I don't think Kobe's quite in the strong category. Sorry if that upsets some people. Okay, same thing with Blue Ace and Whitebeard. I think this is somewhere in the almost category. We'll put it towards the end of that. It might even be towards casual. I don't think it's strong, that's for sure. I don't think it's like strong enough to compete with these top decks up here, these other decks up here. But I do think it's strong enough to sneak wins at locals and things like that, and maybe even get a top placing at a like a top 32, a top 64, something like that at a really big tournament. Who knows? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, so that's it. So this is OP11, guys. This is my predictions for OP11. Let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit for you guys to check this out. Can I fit this all on one page? Let me see. I got to zoom way far out. There we go. Okay, good enough. Okay, so this is pretty much it for OP11. All right, let me set it up just like this where you guys can see it just fine. Oops, like a flying here. So this is kind of where I have things. I'm going to move things around now that we have everything lined up. So for the sweaty stuff up here, like I said, I think that what you're going to see the most of in OP11 is blue, purple Luffy, green, purple Luffy, red, yellow, Bello Betty, and then even like, I'll probably even move Zoro to the top of strong here, and then probably Blackbeard above that, and then purple Luffy. Because I think most people who are going to want to run purple are going to be running green, purple, or blue, purple. Okay. Lucci, I think, is still going to be very strong. I'll even push that above purple Luffy. Red purple Luffy is just good by default, but most people will not play it because of the other options. Red yellow Sabo is no joke in OP11, guys. It is actually solid. It is very much viable in OP11 because it does pretty decent into all these matchups. Green purple Lim, I'm going to drop down to the bottom of strong. It's still strong, but again, there's a better green purple leader in town right now. So most people are going to probably be running green purple Luffy, and I do think that these matchups might be pushing Lim down. Guys, does Lim stay in the strong category, or does it get pushed down into the almost category? I'm not exactly sure because I don't think Lim did all that well in the East for OP11. And at the same time, but it's still just like an inherently, it's like an inherently strong deck, so I will still leave it in strong. Okay, same thing with Ace though, or with Shanks rather. We'll have to see. Calgar, I think, is kind of towards the end of strong. It's a very aggressive list, and but it does very well. Like it can go super hard, like aggro, and it takes its own life, so you can't starve it. It can go very aggressive. I think it should be in the strong category. Buggy, I expect there to be a lot of buggy players with all this new support that's come out with the support that came out with the new ST24 or whatever it is. I think buggy, or 25, I think ST23 was red, green was 24, and blue was 25. Yeah, so ST25 support with how good buggy was already doing, I think it's still a very strong leader. I don't know if it's like this high up in the strong category. Maybe it needs to go down a little bit, but we'll have to see. Bonnie, I think, is still just strong. Goodness gracious, excuse me. Bonnie, I still think, is just strong. Red, green, smoker as well. They're kind of around that same like power level where they have access to Hody Jones. They're just solid, fortress style decks. They're going to probably be doing just fine. Red, I think Newgate. I will put Newgate towards the end of the strong category, but it is going to be a very aggressive deck. Blue purple Reiju as well. I will push that down a little bit. It's probably towards the end of the strong category, but it's still a very solid leader. Purple yellow pudding I'm going to keep right there because I think there could be something there for purple yellow pudding. I think Nami has fallen off because of how aggressive some of these decks are, but I could imagine Nami's probably is. Guys, how good is Nami into blue purple Luffy? Is that a thing? I haven't tried that matchup, so I don't know from experience. What else? Purple Black Luffy, I am also going to drop down towards the end of strong because we don't know yet if Purple Black Luffy is going to be able to make it. Even with the new starter decks, we're going to have to see what happens. So I'm going to keep him in the strong category, but towards the end of it. Yellow Eustace Kid, Enel, I like where this leader's at. Blue Black Sakazuki, Blue Black Usopp, I think probably needs to move up around the buggy level, like the buggy power level, maybe even a little bit stronger than buggy. We'll have to see. Purple Yellow Pudding. Maybe I will put this down some, like towards Calgara. Yellow Eustace Kid, I think, is going to be fine. Same thing with Green Yellow Law, and there we go. So that's kind of where I like all these leaders here for OP11. Okay, moving down into the almost. I'm not even going to mess with casual and chill. The casual and chill tier, I'm not even going to mess with those guys. But for almost, I will try to move some things around to make people a little bit happier, or at least you can't please everybody, but I'm going to try to help people out here. Black Yellow Luffy is probably somewhere middle of the pack of almost. It just requires a certain kind of pilot. Shanks, Katakuri, and Nami, these are all trying to push into the strong tier. I will say that right now. They're all trying to push into the strong tier. Same thing with Jinbei. Katakuri might be. So, guys, tell me what y'all think. In OP11, is Katakuri actually stronger? Katakuri might need to find his way towards the upper end of yellow. I could see Katakuri trying to push, yellow Katakuri, excuse me, there's a purple and a yellow one now. I could see yellow Katakuri in strong. You guys tell me what y'all think about that in the comment section below. What else? So I've got Shanks here. I moved Katakuri up to the top end of almost. Purple Katakuri's up here as well. Maybe I actually move him down below Nami. And then we have ST14 Luffy. I think this is just going to be just a solid like Navy-style removal deck. But because of that, I'm going to drop it below Smoker. Then we have, yeah, so there's like a whole entire row, like an entire section of green cards here, like with Jinbei, Red-Green Odin, and Green-Blue Zanji. I think those are going to be able to just pop off against certain decks because of Hody Jones. And actually, we'll push Yamato up to the top of that next to Odin. Because all 4 of these decks have access, and I'm even going to move Jinbei below Red, Green, Odin, and Green, Yellow, Yamato. I think they are next in line to jump into the strong category for green decks. Yeah, I think they could be. I think they really could be. I'm even going to move Green, Purple Limb maybe down a little bit below Calgara. I don't know. I made a slight adjustment to the strong tier there, but, you know, we'll have to see. Red ST21 Luffy, I'm dropping down all the way to the bottom of the almost. It's just not quite there. It's probably your best red aggro deck that's not named Zoro and Newgate. But again, I just don't think it's quite there. Blue Doflamingo probably does need to move up a little bit. I'm going to move him up. Boa, I'm going to keep towards the middle of the pack towards the middle of the pack for almost. Hang on, Kobe. There's going to be, just like with Red Black Garp, man. Where's Red Black Garp on this list? I had him all the way down in casual, right? Or no, I think I did leave him in, did I leave him in almost? I can't even find him, guys. Red Black Garp just disappeared from my list. I don't know where he even went to. Let me just keep going through these real quick. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Red Black Garp has disappeared from the list. I'm sure I'll find it in a minute. But here we go. So Red Black Kobe, I think he is kind of more of like, he's just not quite there yet. There's something's missing, right? People are trying to figure it out, and it has gotten a few like top places at some, you know, I think like a flagship maybe it might have gotten. I can't remember. But it's just, I think that's more about having like a diehard fan than it is about the deck actually being at a certain power level and just a certain pilot learning to unlock it. So, okay, I found Garp. He's down here in the casual tier. So I am going to drop, Kobe down to the bottom of almost, or somewhere around there. We'll talk about him more in just a second. Red Blue Mark, I think, is still very solid, especially if you run the animal aggro package. I think that's going to be really good. Purple Yellow Nika, Robin, and Vegapunk, they're right there in almost. I think they're fine where they are. Smoker, Luffy, and Gecko, I'm fine with that. Black Yellow Luffy, Blue Yellow Ace, Boa. Red Green Trafalgar Law is right. He's always in the almost category because it always comes down to the pilot. I'll actually put him down here like next to Kobe because it's the same idea there where it's like with the right pilot and seeing the right matchups, Red Green Trafalgar Law can always just win a tournament. You know what I mean? Hopefully that made sense. What else? Green Yellow Arlong, I'm going to drop him down. I feel like he's actually gotten weaker over time, guys. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I've got him down even lower in the almost category. We'll put him right above ST21 Luffy. Green Blue Rosinante, somewhere in the middle of the pack somewhere in the middle of the pack of almost, because it's not that it just got more support, it's just the deck just keeps getting more and more options as a green blue leader, and it did just get some EB02 support. It's just almost there. I think we might have to figure that list out at some point. I'll try to do a video on Rosinante soon, because I do think that leader is very, very close, like very, very close to something really strong. Green Uda, like I said, I am going to drop this down because it's in almost somewhere. It's probably below Arlong and Red-Green Trafalgar Law. Odin, I'm going to keep where he is because, like I said, there is like actually, Hody Jones as well. Hody Jones, I'm going to push Odin. Actually, Hody Jones did just get some extra support with the new Fishman Island stuff, the Merfolk and all that stuff coming out in OP11. But Hody Jones is very solid because he has green and he has Hody Jones. That's why he's so solid. So he's going to be able to probably do pretty well into blue-purple Luffy, but I don't think it can quite keep up with green-purple Luffy or red-yellow Bello Betty. Odin, I like where he is, just somewhere in the middle of the pack here, because he is a really cool leader that can flood the board very consistently, and it has like an entire Exodia-style combo built around it. It's not Exodia win the game style combo, but like you have to put all these pieces together, and then you start getting like crazy tempo from it. Carrot as well. Carrot's just needs more support. Maybe Law and Beppo will help push this leader up. I could see this being ahead of the other two. I'm even gonna move. I don't know. That's a hard. I'm just gonna leave it like that. These three green decks in a row here, they're fine. I could even see them being up closer towards green blue Zanji. And if someone figures something out, you never know what could happen. Like these could even be in strong at some point. Red-Black Sabo, we're going to talk about more in a minute. I'm going to push Red-Black Sabo up some. Actually, I'll push him down some for now so I can remember to find him when we talk about OP12. Okay, what else? Purple-Yellow Crocodile. Purple-Yellow Crocodile is really solid. But he did not get any actual support until OP12. I'm going to put him down here as well because I think once we get to OP12, he could see some resurgence here. So I'll put him next to Sabo so I can try to remember to talk about him. Blue-Black Rebecca probably needs to go higher up in the almost category. It's somewhere around like Marco level, Blue Doflamingo level, somewhere around there. Yellow Lin, I think it's fine where it is. It's just not as good as Katakuri is, the yellow Katakuri. And it requires a little more skill to pilot, so I'm even going to drop it down some, to be honest, guys. I'm going to drop it down to like probably right around like Blue Ace level. Green-Black Isho, I do think this is fine. It has access to black, and it's probably somewhere around the same level as these other leaders, but they're 5 life, and Green-Black Isho is only 4 life. That's always going to hurt it. Same thing, Foxy's fine, right where he is. I don't think, I don't know, I could see him being kind of decent into like Blue-Purple Luffy. I could see Foxy being kind of decent into Blue-Purple Luffy, guys. I'm going to put him, like, right under Gecko Moria level, or Gecko Moria tier, whatever you want to call that. I think he could make something happen. We'll have to see. Red-Purple Sugar, I think, is fine there. Red-Black Kobe. Now we're back to where we had everything set. All right, good stuff. There's almost. All right, so that's it, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to really mess with the casual and chill tiers. The casual zone and chill zone, we're going to stay away from those for now. But this is kind of where I think the game is for the most part. Like, if I zoom in on just the sweaty and almost tier. There we go. I wish I could zoom out just a little tiny bit. That's good enough. That's fine. Let me shrink my head down so you guys can see it. This is kind of the decks that I would focus on the most. Let's see how many there are. We got 3 in sweaty. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's 13 per row. So 13, 26, 39. Plus 7 is, what is that? 46, 49, 50, and then 4 or 5. So I think it's like 59 decks right here altogether. I did quick math on that, guys. Sorry if I'm off a little bit, but I think it's right around 59. So right around 60 decks here that we're looking at. And these are probably the best decks in the format, with everything under it just being like a whole standard deviation lower in power level. You could convince me on any of these leaders that you see here. Like, I would not, if I saw any of the leaders on this section right here, like winning a locals or a flagship, it wouldn't surprise me even a little bit. Like, I wouldn't even be like, whoa, like, how did that happen? No, I could see it happening with the right pilot and the right circumstances for sure. But I think the number one decks to anticipate, to go against, into Tech 4 are going to be these top 3. So we got a blue, purple, red, green, and yellow representation at the very top. Red, yellow, Bella Betty, green, purple, Luffy, and then blue, purple, Luffy. And then right under that, all these leaders on this row right here, they're really nothing to scoff at. They've become... The power level of these leaders has become very, very strong. It's just these top 3 right here, I think, probably have like the more favorable matchups against them most of the time. And of course, some leaders have better matchups than others and all that stuff. You guys know how that goes. Okay, so that's it. Here's my OP11 tier list for the most part, guys. Like, this is kind of where it is. And like I said, all the way down here, here's the casual and almost stuff if you want to know what that is as well. Okay, now, OP12. Got to zoom out, keep zooming. There we go. Actually, let me zoom out one more so I can see things a little better. Here we go. So first up, let's talk about Rosinante. I just have them in this order. Actually, let's go in color order. Red, green, blue, purple, black, and then we'll have it as yellow. So we'll pretend this is how they are, guys. We're like, this is one for each color. Rayleigh. Rayleigh. I think that Rayleigh is right around the almost category. I think he's right around almost. I don't think he's even in casual. I legitimately think that, like, Rayleigh is somewhere in the middle of the casual category, or excuse me, of the almost category, where it's like it does have this ability to be hyper explosive and hyper aggressive, but is it going to be more aggressive than something like Zoro or Bella Betty? No, absolutely not even close. I will still be trying to make Rayleigh work, of course. I'm going to be doing my absolute best. I have Rayleigh right in the middle here, guys. I know we'll zoom in a second here. I do think Rayleigh is going to be pretty solid, but just not as good as some of these other red leaders you see up here. Like, if I'm trying to be really, really competitive, okay, and I'm trying to run aggro, I'm going to run one of these decks. I'm going to run Bello Betty, I'm going to run Zoro, or I'm going to run Newgate. If I'm trying to be more mid-range, well, you're not running Rayleigh. And if you're trying to be more controlled, you're definitely not running Rayleigh. Because, like you can't run anything above 5 cost or above. You can't even run a 5 cost card or above. So Rayleigh, because of that, is in the almost section here, in the dead center of almost. It probably needs to be even lower, to be honest, guys. Like, and again, I'm just trying to be honest. I could see Rayleigh probably around the bottom side, the bottom end of almost. Let me keep these over on the right here because we're going to talk about Sabo and Crocodile in a moment. Okay, next up we have Zoro. Zoro, I think, is going to go straight to the middle of strong, probably at the very top end of all the green decks. Notice I have like a bunch of green decks in a row here. Green, Bonnie, and then red-green, Smoker. I could see Zoro being right above those. Zoro, I think, will be a very strong leader going into OP11. Into OP12. Going into OP12 now. Okay. Kuzan. Kuzan, I also think, is going to be in the strong category, somewhere towards the end of strong. Maybe a little bit stronger than what we see here. Like, maybe it is like kind of like near Reiju, but I think it'll be stronger than Reiju. It's going to flood the board, and it's going to have a lot of card draw and cycle. I could see Kuzan being in the strong category. Guys, it's going to flood the board like crazy. It's going to flood the board like absolute craziness. Yeah, I think it's going to be very good. I'll try to talk about it more in just a minute. Sanji has not been figured out yet. So as far as Sanji goes, I'm going to put it towards the top of almost. Like, let's put it like right under where Shanks is. I got it right here. I think Sanji could be very good, but at the same time, I think once like the dust settles and all the newness, goes away and everything, I think Sanji will settle somewhere around like at the top of almost, maybe at the bottom of strong. I don't know. We'll have to see. Again, it will depend on what people figure out with the leader. Okay. Black Yellow Koala, I think, goes straight to strong. I do not think it goes into sweaty tier. We'll have to see what happens. Again, this is just predictions at this point, guys. This is just predictions. But I do think I could see Koala being all the way up in the very top end of strong, where it's like, okay, you're going to have access to life gain. You're going to have access to removal, cost increase, where it's going to be harder to remove your characters. Could be very good. I could see Black Yellow Koala settling in somewhere around the strong category. And then last but not least, we have Purple Yellow Rosinante. I'm going to put it here, guys. I'm not going to lie. Okay, now let's go ahead and zoom in, and then we'll talk about this stuff more before we talk about the Red Black Sabo and Purple Yellow Croc. So this is where we're at here. Let me scooch up just a little bit to get all the stuff out of the bottom there. There we go. So this is kind of where I'm at. So again, notice where I have Rayleigh. I have Rayleigh at the bottom right. I got to shrink my camera down. I have Rayleigh all the way down here at the bottom right. I have Sanji right here at almost. I have Kuzan, Black Yellow Koala, Purple Yellow Rosinante, and Zoro all in a very strong category. Because the amount of support we saw for these leaders, I would almost consider it just pure power creep, where it's like all of a sudden these are all just, I know they're all coming out in the exact same set. I understand that. And it's like, how often is it that a set has like all of their leaders are strong? Well, guys, OP12 might be the one set where we can say that, where it's like, wait a minute, all of these leaders looked good outside of Rayleigh, which ended up looking pretty decent after we saw his spoilers and all his support. Rayleigh even looked pretty decent towards the end there. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, right now, I do think that I think Zoro is actually going to be a strong deck, like a very solid deck, maybe even the best green deck in the format. I'm not kidding when I say that, guys. It might be the best green deck in the format. Then we have Jory Bonnie. Is like, I think it's gonna be on the same like power level as Jory Bonnie. And then Black Yellow Koala. This is the leader that everybody's hyping up right now, and I don't know. I'm actually gonna drop it down to like Purple Yellow Rosinante level down here, where it's like I don't know if I don't know if Black Yellow Koala is gonna be as good as people say it is. I'm not saying it's gonna be bad. Notice I still have it in the strong tier, but I don't think I could see Black Yellow Koala staying in strong tier, but like being middle of the pack for all the strong decks out there. Because I think aggro is just going to run Bello Betty over. Or excuse me, I think like decks like Red Yellow, that's funny guys, what happened there in my mind. Red Yellow, Bello Betty, and Zoro and like aggro decks, I think they're just going to run Koala over. We'll have to see. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. But you know, I could see those doing very well. Kuzan as well. Let me drop these all down to the bottom of the strong category, with the only deck that I think for sure is going to be like I almost have no doubt that it's going to become the strongest green deck in the format. I think it's going to be Zoro. I think Green Zoro will be like the strongest deck in the format after all the support we've seen. Blue Kuzan, Black Yellow Koala, and Purple Yellow Rosinante. I could see all of these sitting around the strong like level, but at the same time, I will be safe with Rosinante and put him around Sanji here. Like notice Sanji and Rosinante. I have them there for a reason, because I do think they will probably be in the, you know, like they're in like that almost category. But guys, I've experimented now playing around with Purple Yellow Rosinante. That was the leader I was most impressed by when I played it. Like, okay, Kuzan, when I got to play that, we didn't have barely any of the really good support that it has now. And the same thing with Zoro, but I still knew they were really, like, quite powerful, right? Purple Yellow Rosinante, I went into those games thinking, like, this is going to be terrible. It was anything but that. It was like, whoa, Purple Yellow Rosinante is so much better than I thought. I think it will have some issues, you know, against certain matchups, but overall, I think it does have some, you know, I think it does have quite a bit of potential. But I'm going to put him in the same tier level as, like, Blue-Purple Sanji. So they're, like, at the top end of almost, where, who knows, with the right pilot and the right build, it could sneak into strong. We'll have to see what happens. But Green Zoro, Blue Kuzan, and Black Yellow Koala, there's something to be said there. Because let me say this, when it comes to Kuzan, is there going to be a stronger blue deck in the format? I think the only possibility would be Blue Buggy, who just got his own starter deck. So yeah, I mean, possibly, yes. He could very well, you know, Buggy could be the strongest blue deck in the entire game right now, guys. Moving into OP11 and with the new starter deck support. And then going into OP12, I don't think Buggy necessarily gets anything extra, but then that's where Kuzan comes in, and maybe he takes the places like the second best or the best blue deck in the game. We'll have to see, guys. We'll have to see what happens there. Black Yellow Koala as well. I don't know what to think about Black Yellow Koala just yet. It is a 4-life leader, which has been a death sentence for many, many very possibly good leaders, right? There are so many leaders that could have been top tier, but you're a 4-life leader. Sorry, bud. You know, so you're just going to lose out because of that. You know, but it's who knows? Maybe it'll be like Red Green Smoker and Blue Purple Reiju, where it can actually compete with only 4 life. And again, I'm not saying you can't compete with 4 life. I'm just saying it really hurts your chances. I have Blue Black Usopp right here as well. Maybe that should be like one step below Buggy. I don't know. But with Kuzan coming out and all the support coming out for the Navy cards, I could see Kuzan jumping into the place of the best blue deck in the format. So there you go. All right, so this is how I have it, guys, for now. Oh, yeah, let's talk about... Hang on, I almost forgot. In OP12, we got Red Black Sabo moving into the strong category. In OP12, I think Red Black Sabo will actually be a very, very strong leader, guys. I'm not kidding when I say that. One more thing I want to say, too, is with Purple Yellow Crocodile. When when Kuma comes out, then there's a new secret 6-cost card called Kuma coming out in OP12. When that hits, every yellow deck automatically goes up like half a tier. Just by default, every yellow deck goes up by like half a tier. And I think Purple Yellow Croc will in fact do that. I think Purple Yellow Croc will be pushed up towards the top end of the almost section, the almost zone. That's about it, guys. I think that's all I got for y'all. What do y'all think about the tier list? Let's be nice. If you disagree with something, that's fine. Just say it in the comment section below. Just say, hey, I didn't really like where you had this. I think this should be here. I think this one should be there, that, this, that, and the other, right? Let's just please keep it respectful down there. And one more thing I do want to say is going into OP12, I still expect these leaders at the top to be the top. I think that these 3 leaders up here in the sweaty category, I think they are like head and shoulders above the rest, especially the 2 Luffys, and then Red Yellow Bello Betty, only because Bello Betty has a pretty solid matchup into these other 2. So good stuff there. All right, that's it, guys. That's all I got for you. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. This was a lot of fun. I love doing these tier lists, and I'm happy to see Red Yellow Sabo doing so well in OP11. I really hope that more people play Red Yellow Sabo because it does have so much potential. It's a fun deck to pilot. It's rewarding. It's skill based, and it has a lot. And it's doing very well right now. It was doing very well in OP11 in the East. So we'll have to see if it carries over in the West with access to these new starter decks. It might change things. We'll have to see. All right, I think I'm done. I'm done yapping. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to say here. Yeah, I really think that's it, guys. Again, I'm not able, you know, when it comes to the OP12 stuff, these are just pure predictions. We don't know yet. We have no idea what's going to happen yet. And they don't even have the guys over in the East right now. They have OP12, but they don't have the new starter decks. They don't have starter decks 23 through 28 yet. So it changes everything. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is a really crazy, wonky, all over the place meta. We'll have to see what happens. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. I'm sorry. This is what I was going to say to close on here. I think moving forward, we actually have like best ofs in each color kind of set up. I think the best red deck in the format is Zorro / Bello Betty. Because, yeah, Bello Betty is red and yellow, but the yellow is really just, it's there. It's like a really aggressive red aggro deck, right? So, like, the best red decks in the format right now, we got Bello Betty, and they're represented in the sweaty category and strong, so very, very good placings there. Green, that's the next color. We have a really strong green and purple deck in green, purple, Luffy, and then we have all these good green decks coming up, you know, moving their way up the tier, you know, the tier list as well. You know, Bonnie, Red Green Smoker, Green Yellow Law, and even Green Purple Limb. Blue has Blue Purple Luffy, but then you even have Blue Buggy, Blue Black Usopp, and then soon Blue Kuzan. Even Blue Purple Reiju is really just purple, to be honest, but we'll talk about that when we get to purple. So that's what's next. Then you go to the purple stuff, guys. If purple's your favorite color in the game, you're eating good right now because you have Blue Purple Luffy, Green Purple Luffy, Purple Luffy, Red Purple Luffy, Green Purple, Purple Yellow Pudding. It's really it's Blurple Reiju, but it's really just purple. So you got a ton of good stuff, and Purple Black Luffy popping up as well. Then when we get to the black color, there is no black representation yet in Sweaty, but who knows? Marshall D. Teach might be moving up, and now that he has the stuff he has from the starter deck. But you have Marshall D. Teach and Lucci representing some of the, you know, that's pretty much all we have for the color black in the top, you know, in the top category here, and then Usopp, I guess, as well. And then last but not least, yellow. Yellow's kind of doing the worst. I mean, yes, I guess red, yellow, Bello Betty is something. And the same thing with red, yellow, Sabo. But they're really just fancy, technical aggro decks that really focus on the red part of their package. So, you know, so yellow does have access to Bello Betty and Sabo right now. But yellow Enel, you know, yellow Calgara, and then yellow Eustace Skid, sorry. And then soon, black, yellow Koala. I think yellow does have some pretty decent representation as well. And green, yellow Law. I forgot about Law. Yeah, so I'll say this overall. I think the game is in a pretty decent spot with a few exceptions. I think that the stuff you see at the very top there other than Bello Betty, because remember, Bello Betty was really like a product of how well the other two were doing. Zorro and Bello Betty have basically been keeping those top two decks in check, or it would just, you know, things would have probably gotten pretty out of hand. In fact, I think most people would agree that things got out of hand in the East. But we'll have to see. It's not going to be the exact same over here in the West. Things might, or well, it could be the same. We'll have to see. But things might not be the exact same over here in the West because we have access to the new starter decks. And they did not have access to that in the East when they were playing in the OP11 meta. So we'll have to see what happens. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Let me get the outro page on here real quick. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel. I love doing these tier list videos. They're so much fun. Please don't take them too seriously, guys. This is just my personal opinion on these. It's just meant to be fun, and it's meant to kind of show people where some of the power level is of some of these decks. And if you disagree with one of the placements or a few of the placements or all of them, say something in the comment section below. But let's just please keep it respectful, okay, guys? All right. I'm done. Guys, to everyone who's liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, using my TCG Player affiliate link, people who are donating on Patreon or PayPal, the Playmat supporters, the YouTube members, the Discord community. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I believe today is Wednesday, right? Let me check something real quick. It is Wednesday, right, guys? Yes, it is. We will be streaming tonight on YouTube. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on YouTube from 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 a.m. So be sure to stop by, check that out, hang out with us, and have fun. We'll try to talk more about the tier list then and about all the other stuff coming out, okay? All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, guys. Peace.